Hello students, welcome to the channel The Royal Chemistry, all about chemistry. இன்னைக்கு வீடியோவில் நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறது zone refining. இது chemistryல class 12 இருந்து unit 1 metallurgy இருந்து ஒரு topic. So இந்த zone refining na என்ன அதை பற்றி full details நம்ம இந்த வீடியோவில் பார்க்கலாம். Let's see what is zone refining. So it's one of the important process of refining. ஏன் அப்படின்னா it gives the high purity metal. So a production of high purity metal takes place in this zone refining. Highest purity metal. Okay. Now let's see what is zone refining. Zone refining process enna nama therinjikalam. So it's a technique for the purification of crystalline material. So material purification. It's a process of purification of crystalline material and especially a metal in which a molten region travel through the material to be refined. So it's a traveling process of refining. It's quite interesting topic for you. So let's see. It's especially a metal in which a molten region travels through the material to be refined. Okay. So now let us see what will happen if you travel through the metal. So if you travel through the metal, we can pick up the impurities. How the material மேல அப்படி நம்ம travel பண்ணும்போது you can remove the impurities. So picks up the impurities at its advancing edge. Okay, and then allows. Let's see that how we are doing that process with this. I can see the picture here where you traveling over the impure metal, and finally what will happen? The purified part. So one side will get the impurity, the other side we will get the purified part. So that purified part to recrystallize at its opposite side. So impurity ஒரு சைட்லையும் நல்ல பியூரா ஹை பியூரிட்டி உள்ள மெட்டல் ஒரு சைட்லையும் நமக்கு கிடைச்சிரும். ஸோ இந்த ப்ராசஸை இன்னும் டீட்டெயிலாக நம்ம ஸ்டடி பண்ணலாம். இங்கே பார்க்குறது இங்கே ஒரு ஜோன் ரிஃபைனிங் தான். டைரக்ஷன் ஆஃப் ஃப்ளோ ஆஃப் இம்ப்யூரிட்டிஸ் பார்த்துக்கோங்க, ரைட் சைடில் இருக்கும். Now let us see about who invented this zone refining. So who invented this zone refining? The zone refining was invented by two persons. Other first one is John Desmond Bernal. John Desmond Bernal. He is named as J.D. Bernal in the year of 1901. So and it was further developed by the second person named as William Gardner Fan. William Gardner Fan, shortly named as W.G. Fan of year 1917. So these are the two persons who was invented, that is who invented the zone refining process. How they done in the zone refining process in their laboratory, I'm going to say it now. Here this is how much impurities we are removing the zone, how much purity we are getting the metal. Let me explain that. So timely invention of this zone refining by the W.G. Fan was a major contribution that helped bring the impurities in germanium and silicon. So impurities ஜெர்மானியத்துலேருந்து சிலிக்கான்லேருந்து ரிமூவ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு இந்த ப்ராசஸ் ரொம்ப உதவியாக இருந்திருக்கு. இதை இன்வென்ட் பண்ணது W.G. Fan. So it's a timely invention. Okay, it's a timely invention, keep in mind. And now let's see how Fan works in his laboratory with this zone refining equipments. Let's see here. He is the man, PF, that is Fan, at left, showing the first zone refining tube in the Bell Labs and the year of 1953. Okay, so the person who is standing the left side is showing the first zone refining tube. In which lab I told you that it is in Bell Labs 1953. It's the very first zone refining process carried out by Fan in the year of 1953. Okay, so now let's see about the next one of zone refining, that is about the principle behind this zone refining. So what is the principle behind this zone refining? Yes, let's see. The principle of zone refining is the impurities of an ore, that is impurities of an ore of metal or more soluble in the melt state. Okay, when it will be more soluble in the melt state, impurities are in and ore of the metal இருக்கிற impurities வந்து soluble இருக்கிறது melt stateல தான். So when compared to the corresponding solid state of the impurities. So what we are going to do now, in the zone process I'm going to remove this impurities. Okay, so zone process, the impurities are concentrated at one end. So ஒரு sideல impurities எல்லாம் concentrate பண்ண போறோம், இன்னொரு sideல அந்த block of metal pure எடுக்க போறோம். So impurities are concentrated at one end of the block of metal. ஒரு எண்ட்ல அப்படியே தள்ளிட்டே போறோம்னு சொன்னேன், டிராவல் பண்ணிட்டே போறோம். So that the rest of the block is அப்ப என்னவா இருக்கும், purified. So rest of the block is purified. See the picture given here now. So let's see how the process is working out with this principle. Let me explain now with this picture what I given for you below. So the picture is now about zone refining. Here we have a circular heater, and it is a zone refining process of germanium metal. So we are getting a pure germanium metal on the left side, impurities are placed at the right side. Now let's see about the heaters. What are the heaters we are using for this zone refining process? The heaters what we are using here is a variety of heaters are using for the zone refining process. First let me explain about the characteristics of the heaters. Then I will tell you about the types. Now what are the important characteristics of the heater? So how and what way it's working, at all those things I'll explain now. Heater has been the ability to form short molten zones. So it has to create a molten zone that moves slowly and uniformly through the ingot. Okay, so I'll tell you that we are moving the heater. So the heater has the ability to form a short molten zone that moves slowly from one side to the other side, and it should be uniformly through the ingot. Ingot, what is ingot? I will explain this term ingot at end of this video. Okay, so the video skip பண்ணாம last வரைக்கும் பாருங்க, you will get the answer for this ingot. So now the point is, what are the common methods we are using for this process? Let me tell you what are the common heaters we are using. So the very first heater is induction coils we are using as a heater for the zone refining process. Look at this picture. This is the induction coil what we are using for the zone refining metal as a heater. The second one is another different type of heater, that is ring wound resistance. Okay, what's its name? Ring wound resistance. Students, can you understand this? Yes, ring wound resistance. So the last one, it's a very important thing of that type of the heater. It is about glass, that is gas flames. So gas flames comes out of industries. You might have we might have seen in pictures. Okay, so this is the one of the refining process, zone refining process carried out in the industries. There it produce lot of fumes out of that chimneys. Here we have gas flames are using as a heater. Let me explain about the types of the zone refining. So here first I'm going to explain horizontal zone refining. So what is this process of horizontal zone refining? அதான் உங்க மைண்ட்ல இருக்கா? So இங்க நம்ம பார்க்குற பிக்சர் தான் horizontal zone refining. So இதை நீங்க ராடை வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்ன பண்ணணும், ஹாரிசாண்டல் பொசிஷன்ல வச்சுக்கணும், the impure rod, metal rod. Okay, so this is the horizontal process, that is a process of impure metal is taken in the form of a rod. So impure metal நீங்க ஒரு rod formல எடுத்துக்கோங்க. Then one end of the rod is heated. So how can we heat that rod? By using a heater. The heater, variety of heaters I shown you that is using a mobile induction heater. I'm using here mobile induction heater, which results in melting of the metal. I told you that it is the one of the characteristics of that heater which makes a molten zone over there. So on that portion of the rod, so it results in the melting of metal on that portion of the rod. Okay, when the heater is slowly moved from one end to the other end. So I'm going to start moving the heater from one end to the other end. So I told you that the zone refining process is a traveling process. Am I right? So I'm moving that heater from one end, slowly from one end to the other end. What will happen? The pure metal crystallizes. Yes, so we get the pure metal, and while the impurities will move to the adjacent molten zone formed due to the movement of the heater. So நம்ம heater move பண்ணிட்டு வரும்போது impurities-லாம் அந்த heater-ஓட right side-ல move ஆயிடும், left side-ல கிடைக்கிற நம்ம metals எல்லாம் pure-ஆவே இருக்கும். So the movement of the heater, so we'll get the, along with the movement of the heater, it will go off. So as the heater moves, so the picture what I am going shown here is zone refining, the horizontal position. You can see the heater in the middle of that. As the heater moves further away, so இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் நீங்க heater move பண்ணும்போது என்ன நடக்கும்? The molten zone containing impurities also move along with it. So impurity heater-ஓட சேர்ந்தே மூவ் ஆகும், ஹீட்டரோட டைரக்ஷன்லேயே மூவ் ஆகுங்கிறது மட்டும் நல்லா மைண்டில் ஸ்டோர் பண்ணிக்கோங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ். ஸோ molten zone containing impurities also move along with it. The process is repeated several times, means by moving the heater in the same direction again and again. திரும்ப திரும்ப நீங்கள் அந்த heater from the beginning slowly move பண்ணிட்டே வந்தீங்கன்னா to achieve the desired purity level. So you will get maximum highest purity metal கிடைக்கும். Let us see about the vertical zone refining. So what is vertical zone refining? Let me explain that vertical zone refining for you. So vertical na நம்ம ஸ்ட்ரைட்டா வந்து எடுக்கணும். zone refining வந்து ஸ்ட்ரைட்டா மேல இருந்து கீழே top to bottom. So இங்க நான் காமிச்சிருக்க pictures வந்து எல்லாமே zone vertical zone refining தான் கொடுத்திருக்கேன். So 2-3 pictures I have given for you for the vertical. They are standing, it's in the standing position. That means from top to bottom it will roll. The heater will roll from the top to the bottom. So we have to take the rod in a vertical position. So that is about vertical zone refining. Let me explain about the principle for this vertical zone refining. So here the induction heating, that is this vertical zone refining process is carried out in the year 1961. Okay. So here this process is about, we are taking the coil, heating coil, but the induction heating coil melts a section of metal bar in the tube. So from top to bottom we have to move the heater. So what will happen? The coil moves slowly down the tube. மேல இருந்து கீழே coil வந்து மூவ் ஆகுது metal barல. So மேல இருந்து மூவ் ஆகும்போது the coil moves slowly down the tube, moving the molten zone to the end of the bar. So molten zone அப்படி மூவ் ஆகிட்டே அந்த ஹீட்டர் வரும்போது impurities-உம் அந்த ஹீட்டரோட டைரக்ஷன்லேயே மூவ் ஆகும். So from top to bottom when it comes down, the impurities also come along with the heater. So that is the point. Now how much purity you will get it? How much purity of metal we are getting after this zone refining? That is our question. Am I right? So it's I told you from the beginning that the purity that can be obtained by zone refining was absolutely unprecedented. That means that is absolutely never done in the history of the material processing. So we never get that much impurity. Hardly 99.99% impurity we will get from the zone refining process. That's why it is highest purity metal you can get from zone refining. Now let's see about the next one is here in zone refining, where we are using this zone refining process. Where we are using this zone refining is used for. The very first method is, it is a method to get metals with high purity. So repeatedly I am saying this word high purity means nothing but zone refining. Sometimes they will ask in the question, exam la கேட்பாங்க high purity refining சொல்லுங்க அப்படின்னா அது zone refining தான். So இந்த zone refining-ஆல நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுறது வந்து semiconductors-க்கு தான் mostly இந்த zone refining process யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம். யாரெல்லாம் semiconductors நல்லாவே தெரியும், silicon and germanium. So how much purity you will get if it undergoes zone refining? 99.999%. So now what is the use? Other uses. The use for the preparation of silicon. It is used for the preparation of silicon, much high purity. Okay. So why? Because it is used in the computer chip. Silicons are used in the computer chip, so it needs high purity. That's why we are using zone refining for process for the production of or refining of the silicon, much high purity, that is 100, hardly 99.999% purity we are getting. So this silicon is used in the formation of some computer chip. So now let's see about the next one is, what are the advantages, or before that we can see which are the elements refined by this zone refining process. which are the elements which are refined by this zone refining process. Hope I already told you that zone refining process is very effective in the removal of impurities. We can remove all the impurities almost from that. Which type of metal here is semiconducting elements. It's highly suitable for the semiconducting elements such as germanium, gallium and silicon. Okay, so it is used for an effective method for the removal of impurities from semiconducting elements such as germanium, gallium and silicon. Now let us see about the advantages of this zone refining process. Okay, what is the advantage of the zone refining process? Here some advantages are there for the zone refining process. The advantages is it has been utilized as the ultimate purification technique. Ultimate purification technique. See that word, ultimate purification technique for hundreds of substances. So high purity metal you need, you have to go with zone refining process, whatever the refining process we have. Okay. Now let's see the disadvantage behind this zone refining process. What's the disadvantage it will be? So here the only one disadvantages, that is also very small one, that is the disadvantages for the zone refining process is being an relatively slow process. That's why it's told you have to move the heater very slowly from the left to the right and you have to repeat the process more times. Okay, so here let's see last one is what is the zone refining is also used, referred to as. What are the other names for the zone refining process? The other name for zone refining is zone melting, then zone floating or floating zone process, or else you can say it as traveling melting zone. Traveling melting, because heater is traveling from left to right or from top to bottom, so it is named as traveling melting zone. During zone refining, we have to see about an important thing, that is the process is carried out in an inert gas atmosphere. Why? What is the reason behind that? Because it is to prevent the oxidation of the metals. Okay, now let us see the last part of the video, that is I told you have a question at the last, that is ingot. What is ingot? I told you that I'll get the answer for you. So it is a material cast shape to facilitate transportations and processing. ஸோ அந்த மெட்டலை நம்ம கொண்டு போகிறதுக்கு டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட்டேஷனுக்கு வசதியாக இருக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு மோல்டோ கேஸ்டோ ரெடி பண்ணுறோம் இல்லையா, அதான் இன்கட். ஸோ வி கேன் சே இட் இஸ் அ பார் ஆஃப் பியூர் மெட்டல்ஸ். ஓகே, இட்ஸ் அ பார் ஆஃப் பியூர் மெட்டல். ஸோ இந்தியாவில் நம்ம எப்படி கோல்டு வந்து டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட்டேஷனுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணுறோன்னா பிஸ்கட் மாடலில் அல்லது காயின்ஸில், அதே சைனீஸில் வந்து அந்த கப் ஷேப்பில் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி யூஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ தே ஆர் கால்ட் அஸ் இன்கட்ஸ். ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், hope you will understand this video about the zone refining process. I will explain about what is zone refining, the principle and the types of heater we use for this refining process and the types of zone refining, all those. My next video is about the last refining process, that is about vapor phase refining process. இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்கள், ஷேர் பண்ணுங்கள், கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்கள். Do subscribe, like, comment and share my channel with your friends. Press the bell icon so that you will get notification of my videos then and there. Thank you. Thank you for watching.